All of us have a history, whether it's family or ancestors or cultures. And a lot of people ask me, why do we want to study the history of other cultures here? We have our own history. And there's a lot of good reasons for that, I think. We can learn a lot from other cultures. We can learn a lot from studying the archaeology of other cultures and learn a lot about ourselves in the process. Arizona is just a small place in the world, but it can tell us a lot about the world. We thought we'd start out by giving some of the ancient history of the southern Arizona to get you into the history part. And I'm going to be talking about the ancient Hohokam culture of Arizona. So just to get you oriented, some yellow dots here, Phoenix and Tucson, and Green Valley is down here. And the Hohokam culture area extends approximately from Green Valley northward at its minimum extent. At its maximum extent, it went all the way down to Nogales and all the way up to Flagstaff, pretty much. I came from a family of farmers and teachers and people who worked for the city of Albuquerque when I grew up. And grew up in Albuquerque, went to high school there, ended up going to college there at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And I was originally going to major in biology and become a physician. And my first semester I took a couple of courses in cultural anthropology and prehistory and just got hooked on anthropology. So I ended up pursuing that for my bachelor's degree. Got my degree, and then a few years later, after I'd been working in archaeology for a while, decided I wanted to go to master's degree. So applied to the University of Arizona, got accepted here, came to Tucson, pulled up roots, got started, got enrolled in school, and right away got a job with the Arizona State Museum. So I had to put off my schooling for a year. And so I worked all the way through my master's degree program and ended up staying. I just haven't found any good reason to leave. Well, who were the Hohokam? The term itself literally means those who were finished or those who were finished off. There are some oral histories among the Pima and Tohono O'odham who were in this area historically that talk about an ancient people who became very powerful and very oppressive to their subjects, and they referred to them in their own language as Huhugam, H-U-H-U-G-A-M. And according to these oral histories, these people became so oppressive that their subjects uprose against them and killed them or drove them out of the country. So that's the interpretation of those who were finished off, what the Hohokam refers to. Archaeologists adapted the term Hohokam from that Piman word Huhugam. And the Hohokam are known for being some of the earliest irrigation farmers in the Southwest. They lived in usually scattered settlements of single-room pit houses, houses that were built partly below the ground. Tucson is kind of in the middle of Hohokam territory, and so the jobs that I first was employed with the Arizona State Museum mostly dealt with Hohokam archaeology. So I ended up becoming very aware of that culture and very informed about it, and more fascinated by it as the years go by. Why do you think calendars would be important to the Hohokam? They were farming people. You have to know what's the appropriate time to plant, schedule your harvest, schedule your rituals that go along with all of that. Rituals are kind of hard to determine archaeologically. We have some other clues besides, calendar reckoning. There are two forms of what we call public architecture on Hohokam sites. One of them is a very stadium-like feature, built with earthen embankments and a sunken floor. This is an example from the Snaketown site that was half excavated here in the 1930s. And when it was excavated, it had a very flat clay plastered floor, nearly vertical inside walls, and it was very tall. It's probably 8 or more feet tall from the floor to the rim here, indicating you could have a lot of spectator areas on the top. So that's an artist's rendition of how these might have been constructed and used. Generally, these features are called ball courts on Hohokam sites, assuming they were used for playing some kind of a ball game similar to the games that were recorded historically down in Mexico when the Spanish first came to the New World in the 1500s. In the Mexican ball courts that date to the early 1500s and earlier in the Maya culture, generally they're made out of stone and they're very rectangular or kind of capital I shaped, the serifs on each end. The Hohokam courts aren't quite like that. They're all made out of earth with only a couple of exceptions that are rock lined, but they do have flat floors, very vertical walls.